Gatherers, and welcome to episode 152 of Wanderings and Wool Gathering. On tonight's episode, we are reviewing the latest from Sevendust called Truth Killer. We're going to take a look at two songs from Prong. One just came out, and the other one came out, I believe, in January, but we hadn't talked about it yet, so we're going to hit those two things. And we're going to talk about some opening bands that we had seen at concerts that then maybe made our playlist afterwards. It was a happy find at a concert. So we're going to talk about those. If you like what you see and hear tonight, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment. And feel free to share this with your friends. And joining me, as always, it's the lovable Metalhead Mundy.
Step inside into his mind. It's boy band time. It's
Metalhead Mundy.
You keep using this word.
You know what?
I don't think it means what you think it means.
I'm pretty sure it does. You know, as I was watching that intro again, is it Kevin who's next to you? I can't think of his name. He looks like Christian Bale.
Kevin, who's next to me?
The guy. Don't act like you don't know. It's your good, close, personal friend from the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. You're not wrong.
Looks a little Bale-ish.
You're not wrong.
Hey, we have a special guest tonight. Somebody's going to class up the show a little bit.
Let's hope.
Can't hurt, right? He is the drummer from Jack the Radio. He's a fellow hometowner, which was so weird when they came on the show and we realized he went to the same school you went to and I work at, which is really kind of fun. And he's coming to us all the way from the Carolinas. It's Kevin Rader Rodenbaugh.
Oh, no song for me, huh? Well, hi, Kokomo Bros. So good to see you guys. Thanks for having me on.
That would make me feel bad, but I don't have a theme song.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we should write you one.
We can't play you in with music because any music we would use, they'd kick us off YouTube. So because it's copyrighted.
Could have used some of ours.
They'd still kick us off until we appealed it, and Facebook would kick us off too.
Oh.
Because they're haters, so
draconian.
It is very weird. Yeah, like you are on here, it's your song. We'll start playing it, and they'll boot us because we didn't get permission from the musician.
Yeah, awful.
I don't know. Anyway, so how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Well, great. We are. We're doing really well.
Had a great weekend hanging with my boys. We did a Barbenheimer weekend. We saw Barbie Friday night and went down to Indianapolis and saw Oppenheimer on the IMAX. Good times.
Mm-hmm. Both great films.
They are.
I've not seen either, but I hear they're both great. So
yeah, for very different reasons, but yes, they're wonderful.
And I'm going to throw the Turtles on there. It was excellent.
Nice.
And soundtrack was killer, and the score from Reznor and Ross was killer as well. It was good. It's like 96% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's awesome.
That's insane. Yeah. So, but before we get jumping into other people's music, do you have any updates or anything you want to sneak in here about Jack the Radio?
Oh, you're talking to me?
Certainly not talking to Mundy.
Let's see any updates. I actually meant to write some down. I believe we've got another new track dropping on the 11th. Is that Friday? If that's a Friday, I believe.
Yes.
Yep. So new track. We're gonna start shooting some videos coming up this week. I'm not sure what the release date is on those, but we should have a new track out this Friday, and then another one I think early September. So they're slowly dropping. So,
very cool.
Are you able to tell us the title of the track?
Let's see. The one that's coming out is called "Walk All Over Me."
Yeah, I saw that on. I think George posted about it or something.
Yeah, I did too. We've been teasing it all week.
Oh,
so,
yeah. You guys did the pictures with the red background. And I did see yours as well.
Yeah, we did the individual photos and all that, which is always, there's a little bit of trepidation on my part when we do those things. I feel kind of weird putting my just the picture of me up. It feels kind of strange, but I'm a team player, so we're doing it.
It's promo stuff,
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Well, we're excited. That'll be cool. We, my guess is next week we'll be talking about that song on the show.
Oh, that would be excellent. We always appreciate it. So
yeah, that may actually be the whole show. So there you go.
It's not that long of a song.
Yeah, your songs typically aren't, marathons. You guys keep them right in that pocket, the 3 to 5, right?
Yeah, 3 to 5 minutes. Generally closer to the 4 or 5 minutes, probably. But some of them are a little shorter. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Not a lot of sections,
We're not doing prog songs that go 11 minutes. So.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
That's a challenge, though. Putting it in right now. Prog. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, let's get to the challenge this week. And actually, we were at the concert last week, and I looked over at Monday and said, hey, I think I got the challenge. And it was to basically talk about a band or a couple of bands that you either connected with or you learned about at a show that you were at to see the main person. And all of a sudden, this opening act comes out, and you're like, holy cow, are they good? So that was the challenge. We can come up with as many as you want. Worst few. So just to break him in, we're not going to make him go first. But Monday, you want to start off with one of yours?
I had a question first. Like, when we were sitting there, what made you think of that?
I have no idea. My little brain.
Because I think that was actually during the opening act, right? That was during Snafu.
Yeah. And I had a feeling that if I listened to their music, it probably would sound okay. There were times I thought they really sounded good, but I don't know that they're necessarily for me, but it just kind of snuck in there.
Right. Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah. So what you got?
So I have like a main one, and I have a couple of like honorable mentions. Will you want to kill the main one, or just
hit it? Do what you want.
Okay. All right. So what immediately came to mind for me was Korn. Their first album came out in '94, and it really, I don't know. I think I heard some of it or a song or two, and I was like, whatever. Wasn't really into it. Our good mutual friend JPP was trying to actually get me into it. He's like, you gotta listen to these guys, and I just kept blowing it off. And we went to a concert that was, I believe it was Fear Factory, Flotsam and Jetsam, Korn, and Megadeth. And we already knew Fear Factory and Flotsam and Jetsam. We loved them. And of course, Megadeth, whatever, legendary. But Korn, when they came on and played, absolutely blew my mind. They were so good, so energetic, and just new, just different. At that time, like no one sounded like that. And it really just blew my mind. And I've, been a fan since. So I've seen them live several times. Yeah,
that loose bass is super awesome. So I bet that sounded good live.
I could do without that, actually. That kind of gets old after a while.
Yeah, but that's part of what makes them so unique.
It is. But I'm like, dude, you can tighten those strings a little bit.
It's so funny you say that, because that is my qualm with Korn.
Yeah.
I get a headache when I listen to that bass. I can't.
That bass.
It's just that bass tone. I can't get past it for some reason. And I like a lot of their songs. It's just I can listen to like 2 songs and then I'm done, because of that bass just wears on me after a while.
I feel like that's a common complaint with musicians, are like, come on, dude. Yeah. I get it.
Cool. What year was that when you saw him?
It had to be, the album came out in '94, so it had to be, and it was at Deer Creek, so it would have been summer, so probably maybe '95.
Yeah, okay. Cool. That's a good one. I wouldn't have thought about that one, because I'd have thought you would have been on board with that from day one.
Yeah, that's
Nope.
surprising. Yeah.
I was
All right,
not.
Kevin, you want to share one of yours?
Sure. I thought when you told me what this challenge was going to be, I thought this was going to be easy. I thought, oh, surely there are a lot of those. And then as I started thinking about it, I started realizing that I seldom go to a live show where I don't have some familiarity with all the bands that are going to be there. And then I remembered that I went to, I don't know if you're familiar with John Moreland, but John Moreland is a singer-songwriter, kind of Americana kind of guy out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we went to a small club called the Cat's Cradle Back Room. Cat's Cradle is a fairly famous club down here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, where a lot of the national acts, the smaller national acts that come through, play there. Cracker plays there when they come. That size of band plays there. Now they have a little back room that's a smaller club, and they have a lot of local shows, but then also some regional and some smaller national acts. And there was a national act coming through that I went to see. And this is how much I like John Moreland. I don't remember the name of the band who headlined that show. It was something Honey or Honey something. And I know they're still around, and they've had some songs in some TV shows and things of that nature.
Not Mudhoney.
Not Mud Honey. I have seen them live. Wonderful show. Long time before I saw Mud Honey. Yes. But anyway, so John Moreland comes out, and you kind of I say this to kind of set the mood of it, so you understand the mood of it. They introduce him. He walks out. He's this huge guy, probably I would say he's probably 6'3", 6'4", something like that. Probably around 350, 400 pounds. His guitar looks like a ukulele. And he comes out and he sits down, and he's got this ball cap on. He's a very somber looking guy. And he starts playing these songs, and not a sound out of the audience the entire show. Anytime he stopped playing, they would clap, and then it's dead silence. Nobody's talking while he's playing, and it's just the guy with the guitar, because he was so captivating. And now it's an event. Anytime he comes to town, we make sure we go and see him. It's really rare that you see somebody get up with an acoustic guitar and sing, because we've seen that a million times, right? The guy sitting there in a bar with a guitar singing. It's rare that you see somebody who can command an audience like that, and he really does that. So,
John Moreland, is that what he says?
John Moreland is the guy's name. In fact, I talked to him after that show. He was sick that night, and he was talking about how he needed to get better because he was about to leave on tour to open for Jason Isbell on his European tour. So he was just on the cusp of becoming a name at that time. And now he's kind of known, but he's a little bit of an underground guy. Yeah.
Cool. I love that you don't even know who the headliner was. That's awesome.
I mean, I asked my wife, I said, do you remember who the band was he was opening for? She's like, I have no idea. I know we left halfway through. So
wow.
That's funny.
Yeah. I have a similar story. I didn't even think about it for this, but when the Stones came through Indy, it was at the RCA Dome, which is a crappy venue anyway, but Counting Crows was a lot better than the Stones were on that night. And I like Counting Crows a lot, but I could see them in a much smaller venue, just the way that they are. But, at the RCA Dome, they didn't do too bad. So, I don't know. That was cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, my choice, this little guy, it's funny. Now I think the first concert I ever went to was Billy Idol opened for Men at Work. That's not my choice because I already knew who Billy Idol was because I had a cassette of Generation X and then White Wedding and all that stuff came out. So I already knew, but kind of interesting that they opened for Men at Work and then they just disappeared. But so my choice was, and this was really recent too, Mundy. So I was a fan of Volbeat, but very casual. Mm-hmm. And then we saw them. There were 4 bands for Slipknot, and they were the ones right before Slipknot. They were so good live. I absolutely loved their performance live. That after that, they got on regular play for me, and I really dig them a lot. And their lead singer has got such a commanding voice. He is excellent. So
yeah, Michael.
So it was one that grew on me because of an opening act.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we could have seen more of that show, but That's a story for another time.
It is indeed a story for another time. So, and it makes I know I miss Gojira because of that. So,
Oh,
I know I'm so mad.
so great. The Gojira is so great live.
I know. I will get there eventually. We got a shout out to Kevin from JPP.
Hey, JPP.
Sorry, I missed you in town. So
yeah, man, I was sorry to not see you. So.
We'll do it again.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else have any other ones to share?
I do. I got a couple.
Hit them. Let's hear it.
So a recent one for me was in I think it was November 2019. JPP and I went to the Vogue in Indianapolis. The headliner was Guar. We were not there to see Guar. I have never been a huge fan of Guar, very casual fan. I just like a couple of their songs. I'd never seen them, was not interested in being covered in all of their wonderful goo and whatever.
The Vogue seems like an odd place for them to play.
That's where they go when they hit Indy.
Wow. Okay.
Like every time, I think. But we went to see Sacred Reich. I've been a fan of theirs, since the early 90s. So it was cool to finally see them. But the opener was Toxic Holocaust. And holy crap. I mean, just straight up face melting thrash metal. I mean, straight out of the 80s. It was amazing. And that, again, that's a band I've heard about for a long time. Never really paid much attention to them, but I'm a fan now because, wow, they were amazing.
Awesome.
And, the Vogue, that's just a great place to see a show. I love, clubs that size are just perfect. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, a little better acoustically than the RCA Dome.
Probably. Yeah.
A little bit.
Probably.
Kevin, did you have any other ones?
I did not have any other ones of bands that I had not heard before. There were bands that once I saw them that I kind of liked, but then once I saw them live, became a huge fan. The biggest one I thought, anytime somebody says the words opening band, I think of Rage Against the Machine at Lollapalooza, the year they opened Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
Because I worked at a record shop in Muncie, Indiana. I don't know if you knew One Music that was in Muncie, Indiana for a while. I worked at a record shop there. And we got a demo tape of them. And we had been listening to them a little bit, and we really liked the few songs. I think it was a 3-song demo. And we went to see them at that show, and they just blew everybody else off the stage. And after that, I was just, huge Rage fan, just amazing energy. And so that's one of the big ones that I think about when I think about opening acts.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I had one other one,
okay.
But it's I didn't choose it because I liked them at the time, but they fell off. It was they opened for Rush back in '90, maybe it was Mr. Big when they first started.
Oh yeah,
and I liked them. I just didn't continue following on that trail after a few years. And they've got some good songs and everything, but they were a great opening act at that time.
Mr. Big, I mean, there's so much musical talent in that band. I love them. I think they're amazing. I have their first album on vinyl still. And they're actually doing a farewell tour right now. They were in Asia. I think they just played in Japan. So I don't know if they're touring Asia right now, but and Billy Sheehan. I mean, I just saw Billy Sheehan not too long ago with the Winery Dogs. So big fan, big fan.
Yeah. All right. I think you had another one, Mundy.
I got 2 more real quick. One, another show at the Vogue. I'm a big rockabilly fan. I've seen Reverend Horton Heat at the Vogue several times. I've seen him in Bloomington at the Bluebird. Always amazing. One of the shows at the Vogue, there's a band opening up for him I had never, ever heard of, and they're called Murder by Death. they're actually, I found out later, they're actually from Bloomington. Like they started because they were all students at IU. So, but man, they were amazing. It's like 2, 3, I think they were a 4-piece at the time. The singer, guitar player, bass, drums, and they had a female on cello and keyboards or piano or whatever, and they were amazing. Like I bought 2 of their CDs. I bumped into the bass player, and he was like soaking wet from sweating being on stage, and I was like, hey, I just bought your CDs, and he gave me like a big old bear hug, and I was like so, but yeah, they were pretty awesome. And then I saw them again at a headline show at Birdie's in Indianapolis. So great band. They're still around. They're still doing stuff. They play, what is it called? The hotel they filmed The Shining in. What's the real name of it? Is it the Overlook?
The one in Colorado?
Yeah. Is the Overlook? Is that the fake name?
That's the fake name, yeah.
Okay, whatever that hotel is, they play a show there I think they might play New Year's Eve there every year. Like it's a weird thing, but
it's the Stanley Estes Park Hotel.
Yes, the Stanley. That's right. So, but they're still around. They're still making music, so they're having a bit of success. So it's cool to see Indiana band doing well.
Cool.
And my other one was, there was a while that I went to a lot of shows in Chicago for a couple of years, and there's this little hole in the wall place that I do not know the name of on the south side of Chicago in a questionable neighborhood. But I love this band. I mentioned the rockabilly. I also love the psychobilly stuff. So there's a great band called the Horror Pops. And it's all, like kind of horror and gothy themed rockabilly stuff. Excellent band. Saw them several times. Saw them at this place in Chicago, and one of the bands opening up was a band called Left Alone. Never heard of them. They took the stage. It's like it's really like kind of punk and ska stuff. And they were fantastic. Same thing. Like I bought a couple of their CDs, and they were awesome. They had their singer, his name, I can't remember his last name. He's Hispanic, and his name is Elvis. But I can't remember his last name. But they were super fun, really good band, and they just absolutely blew me away. I was a fan after that. So those are the ones that came to mind for me.
Awesome.
Always love finding new music.
Well, you win because you came up with more than we did. So get used to it, Kevin. He wins every challenge on the stinking show.
Yeah, I let him win. I was a guest. I thought it'd be rude if I didn't let him win.
No, somebody needs to knock him down a peg or two. He wins every freaking thing we do. JPP just chimed in and sent us a couple. It says 3 notable opening acts I saw were Failure at the second stage at Lollapalooza, The Young Gods for Ministry, and Pop Will Eat Itself for 9 Inch Nails.
Yes.
And he told us the Failure story on one of the shows.
So
go back and find that number. I
was there for the other 2. So the Young Gods those 2 I didn't mention because I already knew them before we saw them. But yeah, excellent. I mean, great to see someone you're like, oh, hey, I like those guys. And they were opening for huge bands at the time. So Pop Will Eat Itself was amazing. They were really cool. That's a highly underrated, I guess, industrial kind of band.
I'm writing it down.
The Young Gods were cool when they came on stage. Like they had their entrance music playing, and the guy comes to the microphone. He's like, "We are the Young Gods. We are from Switzerland, and this is what we do." They started. I was like, "Yes,
that's great."
Oh Lord! All right, Pop Will Eat Itself. Okay, got some new things to check out tonight. Yeah. Good deal. All right. Well, that wraps up the challenge. And we don't have one for next week because the show is going to be completely dedicated to one song from Jack the Radio. We won't have time for anything else. It's going to be a big show. So
It's a lot to talk about. A lot to talk
if we figure out the challenge midweek, we'll post it somewhere. But
we're going to break it down note by note, bar by bar.
That's right.
Yeah, just ignore the drums.
We're going to break the drums out. We're going to listen to only that.
Good.
Set up a metronome and make sure he's in time.
Nothing I haven't had to do several times.
Yeah. Okay, well, that brings us to our first review of the evening, which is Prong, Breaking Point, and Non-Existence. So Breaking Point came out in January. Is that correct, Mundy?
I think so, yeah. It's when Non-Existence dropped, it's kind of a single with the two songs together.
Yeah, and now it's got the full album with all the titles is now listed, and it's got those two songs you can listen to. So it just did not have a release date.
Doesn't it? I thought I put that on the list. I thought it was like October 6th or something. Pretty sure I put that on the list. Anyway, whenever it comes out, we'll probably be reviewing that. So
it's definitely 2023 is all I see. But yeah, we'll definitely review it based on what we've heard so far. So. All right, do you want to start off with Breaking Point?
I mean, it's not like I'm not a fan or anything.
Do you have any pictures you could show us, Mundy?
Yeah, we might have that. I have a little bit of a history with Prong.
Really? Do tell.
So the black and white, this one here was when, this is Tommy Victor, me with Tommy Victor from Prong. And this was when they played here in Kokomo. And I could not, like, for a while we had a club here called Center Stage, and they would bring in these acts. I'm like, why are these people playing in Kokomo? It makes no sense. Like, Hatebreed played here, which I didn't get to see. Soulfly I saw at Center Stage in Kokomo, Indiana. Insane. Sevendust played there. And Prong. And I was like, I mean, it's literally like 5 minutes from my house. I'm not going to go. So, yeah, so they got done. Part of it was a bar. Part of it was the club where they had the show. So Tommy and the guys were just hanging out in the bar after the show. And I, got a picture with Tommy and talked to him for a few minutes, and super nice guy. But yeah, this one was in Kokomo. Oh my gosh. So Paul's comment here, 15 opening acts before the headliner. When Prong played, that's not much of an exaggeration. There were so many bands that played. And, I mean, they're like local and regional. And I'm like, oh, my God, will this ever stop? Because they were all terrible. It was insane. But, yeah, so anyway. So then this one... Well, at that show in Kokomo, so this picture you're seeing here is me with Art Cruz, who was the drummer for Prong at the time, and is now the drummer for Lamb of God, which we just saw.
He is fantastic.
Oh my God, he's so good.
He would have to be.
Yeah.
He's amazing, and he sounded killer at the show that we just went to.
His skills are to die for.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's about, 15.
Yeah.
So about time to hang it up over here.
This was maybe like 2016, 17. So it's been a few years ago.
Yeah, cool.
But so Paul met Art, like they kind of started talking, and Paul was working at a place at the time that I won't mention in case he doesn't want me to bring it up, but Art kind of connected with Paul over where he was working, and they exchanged emails and ended up, I think Paul did a little bit of work for Art, which I'm sure he will let us know. But so they had a connection, and Art was like, hey man, if we're ever coming through your neck of the woods and you want to come to the show, let me know. But so we did. They came and played Indy, and Paul hit him up, and he put us on the guest list and got us in for free. And so it was pretty cool. But so that's me and Art right there. And then that's me and Tommy from the same show. So they're just super sweet guys, super, super nice. I mean, you never know how that's going to go when you meet guys from a band that you like. So, you know, it's you have interactions like this with Art and Tommy, and then you meet guys like Kevin, and it's like, eh. But,
I get it.
No
Well,
kidding.
gotta keep you grounded, man.
We
Yeah.
lost a bet. That's why Kevin's on tonight.
yeah. So
You mean
Not-
I lost the bet. That's
you got totally hosed.
it was going to be me or George.
But yeah, and you see, like anybody that's watching, I'm wearing a Prong shirt, so I've been a fan of theirs since, you know, probably 1990-ish, around there somewhere. So I will check out anything Tommy ever does. So
Well, the
Cool.
good news is, I don't know how you boys felt, but I really enjoyed these two songs that we're talking
Same.
about tonight. So,
yeah.
Breaking Point really hits with me lyrically because it feels like exactly what's going on in education in Indiana right now.
Okay.
I love it. The line that says they demand that you agree with ideas you can't believe, thoughts are banned. Like, it's true. I mean, they want liberty for everybody, but it's really liberty for themselves, and you just better get on board. And it's crazy what's going on. So that really hit home with me.
Yeah. Breaking Point for me, I definitely see what you're saying there about the lyrics. And I mean, this is just, actually both of these songs in different ways, I think, are quintessential Prong. I mean, Breaking Point comes in, you immediately have the pinch harmonics, which Tommy is super famous for. He does so much of that. And it's just kind of, you know, kind of heavy, hit you over the head, you know, just kind of balls out jam, which Prong is so good at.
Kevin?
Yeah, well, so I went by the video that I was sent by Jeremy, and I think I only got non-existence. I don't know that non-existence is the one with all the ooh rhyming at the ends of the.
It's
Yes.
the brand new one. Yes.
Yes.
That's the brand new one.
That just came out. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's the only one that I got. So
Okay,
I apologize.
that's fine.
I didn't listen to the other ones. So.
No, that's fine. That's totally fine. That's our fault.
All right, we'll just move on then. It was good. I liked it. It was a really
Yeah.
hard song. So, non-existence. What did you think of that, Kevin? I know you broke that one down. Let's hear it.
That I do have a few thoughts on. I really liked it. I don't listen to Prong a lot. I have seen Prong live years ago. I don't know if it was a side stage at Deer Creek. I don't know if it would have been Lollapalooza or if it would have been an X Fest, but it was the year that Space Hog was also on the same stage with them.
Okay.
So that was a long time ago. I remember being impressed with them then. What I had forgotten is how much I like the singer's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tommy's
just
great.
Great voice, and I like being an old punk rocker myself. I really appreciate the punk rock aesthetic to their music. It's like hardcore punk rock with a little bit more sophisticated rhythms.
I have a question.
Sure.
When you're talking about punk rock, do you know any of their history?
I don't know.
Okay, so Tommy was the sound man at CBGB for years.
Oh,
Yeah.
this makes sense. Yeah.
When they founded Prong, it was him. It was three of them. They've always kind of been a trio, and it was Tommy, and the bass player was the doorman at CBGB.
Wow, that's great history. That's really cool.
So they're in the punk world.
So they have a pedigree, definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
So yes, I really enjoyed the production. I enjoyed the song. I'm generally going to have negative things to say about. I'm going to balance things out. The ooh rhyming thing at the end of every line started to get on my nerves just a little bit because it felt, some of the words felt shoehorned into me, like we've got to find another ooh word, so let's put that one in there, and then the lyrics sometimes a few lines came off a little bit hokey to me because of that. Like I thought, if you just had gotten yourself out of that. I understand why they did it, because it's a certain mood when you do the ooh thing, and they're trying to convey a certain feeling with that. But for me, it just bothered me a little bit. Not enough that I disliked the song, just that it's
I like.
So
I get what you're saying. I totally understand that, and I don't necessarily disagree with you. But I did like what they did with it when they kind of did. It's kind of like fake gang vocals on the last word on several of those. Like I feel like they just layered Tommy several times because it didn't really sound. It just sounded like Tommy but bigger.
sure,
But it kind of sounded like fake gang vocals on the ooh and the ooh.
yeah, which is
cool.
It is a technique that's still used in the studio today, but used to be used all the time. Like almost every chorus, you're going to at least double the vocals, if not triple and quadruple, to make it sound really thick and big. So that's probably why they did that, and it was very effective. I agree.
I think it was cool because they just did it on that final word, so it wasn't like they were making him sound bigger on the chorus. It just they punched those words.
Yeah.
So
I think it gave it a rhythm and a pace that was different than Breaking Point, which I really dug.
Yeah.
And I love that the line is better to be living than to be of no use.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. And that, like I said, this song also to me sounds like quintessential prong. Like there's so many elements that Tommy uses over and over again here. Oddly enough, this song did not have any of the pinch harmonics, which is almost like signature prong. So, which is, I mean, that's fine. It's cool. But one of the things that I wanted to mention was it's the opening riff and it comes back later, but part of it almost sounded a little bit like the main riff from Symphony of Destruction by Megadeth. The it's not exactly the same, but it's kind of that same. It's real close. It's in that wheelhouse. So
yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
just something I picked up. I was like, oh, I know that.
Well, we're not really answering it, but will I listen again? Yes, because the album will come out and then I'll listen again.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's prong. I always listen to prong. So
yeah. I would listen again. So for sure.
Cool. All right. Well, let's jump into the actual album, and I can't wait to hear what nasty things Kevin has to say about these.
Oh, you just wait.
He's
Morgan Rose is the worst drummer ever.
Not true.
Well, so let's go ahead. The album's called Truth Killer, and the first song is called I Might Let the Devil Win. So, Kevin, I know you've listened to the show, so we're going to talk about that a little bit, and then we're going to decide if we thought it was a good album opener or not.
Okay.
So, who wants to jump in?
I will.
Okay.
It feels like an odd choice for an album opener for them. It is very mellow, which, they've done here and there, but I don't know. It struck me as an odd choice for an opener because I feel like, especially with heavy bands, you kind of want to draw everybody in with, a good ass kicking right off the bat and say like, yeah, we're back. Yeah. Something. So it's kind of an odd choice for that. It is not a terrible song. I like the song a lot. LaJohn sounds fantastic, which I mean, I'm probably say over and over again in this review, but it's just not what I was expecting. So yeah, it's weird.
Okay, Kevin.
So I loved that song, and I'm coming at it from a little bit different angle, probably because I'm only tangentially familiar with Sevendust. I don't really listen to Sevendust. It's not exactly my kind of metal, although there's a lot of metal I like. So it's not exactly my kind of thing. But I was really intrigued with the opening electronic drums, the kind of weird swingy thing. At first, very first, I thought, man, why couldn't they have just done this with a real drum set? But then the more I listened to it,
they do a lot of programming.
I'm aware they do a lot of programming, but I kind of thought, well, you could have just done that with drums. But then I started thinking it really adds to it in the way that it's it makes it kind of cold, you know.
Okay.
So I felt like that was, after I listened to it for a little while, I thought the harshness of it was kind of a contrast to the style that was happening in the beginning, and then in the middle of the song when everything full kicks in is just such a great surprise. Now, as an opening song, I might it did intrigue me. I think maybe I wouldn't want it to be an opening song for a different reason than you, and I don't want to give away my opinion too much of the rest of the record, but that kind of built my expectations up as somebody who doesn't listen to Sevendust. And then I kind of felt like when we went from there to everything else, it didn't seem like it met the expectations that were set up for me. So from that standpoint,
Sure.
I almost think that if the last song, and I'll talk about that later, but the last song would have made a great opener. The last song on the record would have made a great opener because
I think those two flip-flopped would have worked.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm on Team Kevin here. I really like this song. This is probably a top 2 song on the record for me. And I agree with you guys. It was not a good album opener. I actually thought Truth Killer, the next song, could have been the album opener as well. And but yeah, I love this song a lot. I thought it was really good. His singing is just spot on, and it's just a great song. Just not the opener.
To be clear, I really like this song. I just don't. Yeah, it's not a good album opener.
One thing
I threw you guys
sure,
off
Mundy.
somehow, but
But one thing I did want to mention that the vibe that I got from it right away was kind of like a Mike Patton thing. Did either of you guys can
I
think
did
that?
not
Like,
get that.
no.
like it kind of sounded like some of the softer Old Faith No More stuff,
Okay.
maybe, you know, or maybe even some Mr. Bungle, like just some of the stuff where he's, you know, the mellow stuff before the calm before the storm stuff. So I don't know. For some, it was the first thing I thought when he started singing. I was like, oh, that sounds kind of like Mr. Bungle or something. Yeah. So,
Okay.
Okay. So the next song is called Truth Killer. And I'll start just simply because I thought this would have been a great album opener. And for the reason is it's harder, like much of the record is, but it's still friendly enough that it's almost radio friendly where it can bring somebody in. It's got a really catchy chorus. So it has those elements you usually have with the opening track. Plus, it's the title of the record, too. So I like that a lot. And then this one had a really cool breakdown, followed by a little bit of a growl. We got the first growl on the record. And I don't know. I like this song quite a bit. Should have been the opener.
So, okay, so this is where I started, where I will start, I guess, talking about the vocals. So, one of the cool things about Sevendust is they have 3 vocalists. You have LeJohn, who's their main singer, and you have Clint Lowry, who's one of the guitar players, and he sings. I mean, he sings parts by himself, but he sings with LeJohn a lot for really great harmonies. And some of the yelling and screaming is done by Morgan Rose, who's the drummer. So sometimes it's hard to tell. If you listen to Sevendust enough, you can kind of pick that out. Or if you watch the videos, like they'll show that, you know. So this one had a lot of LeJohn and Clint singing together, and they sound amazing together. And then I think, yes, this is the first time we really hear Morgan kind of yell a little bit and whatever. So, yeah. And, you know, this is what Sevendust does. It's the heavy guitars with the melodic vocals. They're able to go in and out of kind of moods and get super heavy, come out of that, get a little melodic. And I mean, that's what they do. That's Sevendust. So yeah, this is a good song. And yeah, I think this would have made a better album opener for sure.
Okay, so here's where the negative thing starts for you. So embrace yourselves. There's this. I did like this. I did like the song just fine. Would have been a better album opener, definitely. But there's this rhythm that happens. Okay, and it happens a lot in a lot of music, really, but in metal you hear it a lot. and it's this bump, 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 pop, bump, 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 pop thing, right? Maybe it's just because I feel like I've heard it so much. That happens in this song, and every time I hear it, I think it's a little cliche for me, and so I have a hard time concentrating on anything else because once that comes in, it starts to bother me. And by the way, so I went through the record and I counted how many songs that happens on. 6 of the 12 songs have that rhythm, and it's like, and some of the songs that I really liked had that rhythm also. So it's not like I hate that rhythm. It's just that I couldn't get past it, and it's probably just a me thing. I'll probably get a lot of hate for that, but it's just it's a thing for me. I started hearing it, and I was explaining this to some of my friends. We were talking about the record, and I was like, it does this thing. I have a friend who's a big metal. He's like, yeah, but that's like metal. You do that. That's a very common metal rhythm. I was like, yeah, but does it have to be though? So, but I will say to the vocals, the production on the record as a whole, wonderful production, great playing. The vocals are very, very good, very clean. The harmonies are very clean. So I did enjoy those aspects of it. So.
I appreciate that just because, you're a drummer, so
right.
Of course you're going to hear that, and that's, we may or may not, because we are not musicians. So that's totally fine. But it's a review. It's all about your opinion. I will say, I think Sevendust can fall into formula sometimes. And that's on this album. I heard that a lot. I'm like, it sounds like a Sevendust song. Yeah, that's Sevendust. It is. It's a thing. And I guess it just depends on if you're a fan of that or not. So, it is what it is.
Totally. Yeah.
So there's another, like if you're talking about like counting things on the record and being formulaic, there were a lot of songs that started off like came in real heavy and then quit, and then soft vocals come in.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened on quite a few songs too. I started noticing, and I didn't dislike it. And I'll just, one of the things that I would say about the record as a whole, I think is what you guys are kind of getting on right now. To me, this felt safe. Like it didn't feel like a lot of risk. Like we're going back to that same beat. Sure. Monday, you got, it's the Sevendust song. It just feels like a safe record.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
So
okay. Yeah, you said that better than I would. Yeah, that's just exactly what it is overall. It felt very safe to me, and not. I listened to your review of the Avenged Sevenfold, the new Avenged Sevenfold, which, as you know, has a lot of weird stuff on it. But I thought I really liked that record for how adventurous it is. And I kind of felt like, and that's what I thought I was going to get when I heard the first track of this. And I think that's what my expectation. So as I thought, they're going to do that kind of a thing. This is going to be cool. And then I went, okay, it's a bunch of formula all the way down. So
yeah.
Okay. Well, the next one was "Won't Stop the Bleeding." Pretty bleak song. Kind of. I don't know. It's like just accepting defeat almost.
Yeah, I really like the chorus on this. It doesn't send a good uplifting message, but yeah, the chorus is. Yeah, the chorus is, this good thing happens to you, this good thing happens to you, this good thing happens to you, but it won't stop the bleeding. So, I kind of dug this song. I actually liked Morgan's drums on this song and the chorus, and I feel like it had a really strong finish, like the jam at the end kind of let it out pretty well.
Yeah, it was catchy, Kevin.
Yeah, I agree that. And one thing, it may surprise you to know that as a drummer, I don't actually listen to drummers all that much. I tend to listen to whole songs. But what struck me about this song in particular, but the whole record, is Morgan's drumming is just spot on, amazing, and clean on this whole record. It's just, you kind of expect that from him, but just amazing drumming. Yeah. And the drum sounds are just like so clear, and I feel like you don't always hear that in metal music, especially these days. It gets kind of, you get that very compressed snare drum sometimes, and it all sounds like one instrument and you don't hear the separation. This record, the way it's produced, the drums are produced so well. You can hear the toms you can hear that they're all separate instruments. The snare drum has a really nice natural sound to it, which I found really refreshing. So very cool.
All right. Next song is Everything. This one sounds like it could have been like a radio song almost. It's another catchy chorus.
They have
cool
a video
groove.
for it.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Yeah. There's, I think they've got 4 videos out right now, and this is one of them.
Gotcha. I'll have to check it out because I did like this song quite a bit. One thing I liked, and I don't even know exactly how you explain it, but it felt like it had this super heavy guitar tone in the front, and then kind of riding back here somewhere was a guitar tone, totally different tone, a little bit higher, but the two working together, I thought really sounded really nice on this song.
Yeah. They're very prone to using kind of the electronic backing tracks here and there, which is fine. I think it works on a record, but when you see them live, it's all, I think it's either Morgan just hitting a pad and that plays, or somebody at the soundboard with the laptop. So, it's fine, and it sounds great on the record, but it's, I can take it or leave it live, but I think that worked really well on this song. And again, it's another example of the 3 vocalists working really well together.
Yeah, I also had a note about the guitar, about the 2 guitars layered like that in the octaves. I thought that sounded really good, and they do a lot of that. I've noticed that there aren't a lot of riffs, and I guess that's kind of their style. That there's a lot of guitar wash on their music, but I thought, particularly on this song, that was very effective. I also had my snarky note was, at least it changed, because we had just come off of that rhythm from the last one. I was like, oh, it doesn't have that rhythm. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm going to be beating a dead horse on that one.
That's okay.
He's got his name now. He's the Snark Master.
There have been reviews we have done where I've had almost nothing to say because I hated it so much. So
everybody's hated one album differently. It's just, that's okay.
Yeah, you are at least offering constructive criticism, kind of.
Not that anybody's going to take it.
Yeah.
Ask T-Bags about Florida. Nothing doing. Next song, No Revolution, I believe is the next one.
Yep.
And another song with a great, strong start, and another one about futility. This one is super bleak. No change, no faith, no resolution, no love, no hate, no revolution. It was just, but I did like it. There were a cool breakdown for vocals in there that was good.
This was one of my highlight tracks. It came in hard, which, I'm never going to be mad at. The Vince's bass tone on this, I thought was really killer. They were able to highlight him a little bit in this song. I feel like he tends to get lost in most of their stuff. So it's nice when he can, they can isolate him a little bit and you can hear Vince going off. This is another one that ended really strong. The groove at the end, I thought was really cool. But I liked No Revolution quite a bit.
Yep. Kevin?
Yeah, this is one that I noted that. Oh, this one has the rhythm in it, by the way. But this is one of the ones that had the rhythm that I really did like the song. I particularly liked the melody of the chorus in this song, the harmony and the melodies of the chorus. There's some harmonies that happen on the guitar. There's this kind of JPP can talk to you about it sometime, I guess, a suspended chord that happens on the guitar that causes a little bit of tension at the ends of a couple of the lines that I thought were really interesting. And we talk about music being about tension and release, and I really felt like that added to the song quite a bit. And I felt like of all the songs on the record, this had one of the more interesting melodies. So, yeah, I liked it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
The next one, Sick Mouth. This one is super personal song about taking power back from a predator after a molestation event. So I think lyrically, it's just a super powerful song. I love the music changes that happen throughout the song. Just didn't stay in the pocket and keep going. I thought it was kind of had some nice changes. I really like this song, and just knowing the message behind it makes it even that much better.
Yeah, there's a lot of again, this is the fantastic vocal harmonies that they do so well. The vocal melody I think is really cool in this one, and yeah, just the heavy parts when they come in are absolutely killer. And yeah, I agree. The message with the lyrics is pretty killer.
Yeah, so I was I liked the lyrics on this one. Musically, it didn't grab me so much. It didn't strike me as all that different from some of the other stuff that I'd already heard on the record. So, but yes, lyrically, I thought it was pretty strong. Yep.
Next up is Holy Water. I just had I didn't. This one did not catch me in any way.
Yeah, this is another one they have a video for, and the dynamics are there, but at the end of the day, it's like it just sounds like a decent Sevendust song. It's not. There's not anything that makes it really stand out.
Kevin, did it have your favorite beat?
This one did not. I wrote cliche lyrics, darkness inside. So that one for some reason struck me as in particular. I didn't like the lyrics to the song. I kind of thought they were I don't know. I have this thing when we get to a certain age that when you try to inject some of the angst that we had 20, 30 years ago, I kind of go like, I guess the best way to put it is I don't believe it sometimes, right? Like I want it to be believable, even if it's not true. I want to believe it. I didn't believe it on this song.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. Like this is when you started talking about that, I'm like, it brings out my inner teenager. I was the moody long hair metal kid that was writing poetry and into Edgar Allan Poe and whatever. So.
Well, I think you're like the whole believability part. You're totally right. And there's something that Mundy and I have talked about so many times on the show. When we grow up with these groups and they change and then people trash them because they change. It's like they were 20 when they wrote that. They're 50 now. Can they at least grow up a little bit in the music, And we just, it frustrates us to no end. So and you're spot on with yours.
And I think some of the worst music is bands who have aged and then go back and try to recreate what they did when they were younger because they think that's what the fans want. And it is what the fans want a lot of times, but you can't recreate it. And it just comes off as, show leaders. I don't know.
The angry band member who is now a millionaire and doesn't have those problems anymore. It's a little bit harder to talk about living on the streets,
Right.
Right. But, okay. So next one is Leave Hell Behind. What you guys got?
This was another highlight for me. I really like, I mentioned Clint Lowry, his singing. He sings, I think it's the bridge. Clint sings by himself on this one. And it's great. I mean, he's a great singer. He really is. And I like the structure of this song. The arrangement, I guess. I don't know how else to put that. And this one feels like there are a lot of busy layers, but I think they come together really well. I like this song a lot.
So what I'm discovering is that Mundy really loves that rhythm.
Okay.
And that's okay. We all have our. You like what you like, man.
It's in the name right there, Metalhead Mundy.
So, but I like metal. I just this was another one that I got. They started doing that. And I went stop doing it, But I think once I get in a mindset, then my brain starts doing that. Then I start hearing it everywhere. So I didn't have anything else about that one. I actually put that rhythm
JPP chimed in and said, "Rich rockstar lyrics, Metamucil and Maseratis."
Well, they hope they get to the Maserati level.
I kind of want to hear a song about Metamucil and Maseratis now,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Well, you need the Maserati to get you home fast enough when the Metamucil kicks in.
Tell George to start writing a song. The next one, Superficial Drug. And what a cool angle to take on social media being this superficial drug and talking shit about people and all that kind of stuff. So I really dug this song quite a bit. Musically, it fit in the pocket with everything else. There wasn't anything that was, like eye-opening or was a lot different than anything else, but it sounded great. And I felt lyrically, this one was a really cool song.
This is another one that has video. They let Vinny shine on this one a little bit on the bass. Always cool to hear. Some cool grooves going on. They had their pretty ooze in this one, little harmonies on the ooze. This one I think has of this album. I think this one has the most kind of pop feel, a little radio friendly, which they did release it as a single, so that makes sense. But I don't hate it. I like this song.
So this song, this is really interesting to me because lyrically, and I tend to read things into places that maybe they're not there, but I hope it was intentional. But I did like this song, even though it had the rhythm. And there's a part of this song, I think it's during the verses, where the vocal rhythm sounds a lot like this rhythm that you hear a bunch in pop country these days. But then you also hear it in pop music, and I almost wondered, because of what the lyrics were about, if that was sort of intentional, that they were sort of trying to ape that rhythm because you hear it everywhere, and it's really unlike the other rhythms that he uses in his vocals.
That's
that
interesting.
kind of like
Really cool.
those kinds of rhythms that were just like kind of like bouncy, sing-songy types of rhythms. I thought that's really interesting. If that was an intentional, then A+ for that. If it's not intentional, I don't want to know that it's not.
So maybe they're trying to ape that and be subversive with it. Maybe we're giving them too much credit.
I'm going to go ahead and give them the credit. I'll never know what the intention was, and that's fine.
Well, they're not going to deny it now. Well, right. Of course we're doing that.
Exactly.
You rube, of course.
Yeah.
The next one's called Messenger, and a lot of cynicism and selfishness brought out here. I thought this was a super strong vocal performance song.
Yes.
I really dug the vocals on this one and the theme of the song. Musically, same.
Yeah, this was not a standout for me, other than LeJohn sounds killer on it, which, I mean, he's amazing. So
yeah,
this is the one that was kind of a waltz, right? That I liked that about it. I liked the rhythm change that they were doing, this kind of interesting waltz thing, and also I thought the vocals were really great. It's a song that I don't think if you asked me to sing it to you, I wouldn't be able to, which is one of my bars for whether I really like a song a lot. But rhythmically and vocally, I thought it was great. Yeah.
Love and Hate. Next song, what you guys think?
I think the riff at the opening is kind of fun, and that they do this occasionally. They do.
Kevin's laughing.
No. I'm laughing in agreement.
Oh, okay.
They do this with their songs occasionally. Like they open with the riff that then comes back at the bridge or the chorus or something. That's the case here. That riff comes back at the bridge. Again, all three vocalists in fine form here. I always dig it when they're able to all work in there. And the piano outro is kind of cool. Kind of cool way to calm things down and go into the little face melter at the end.
Yeah, so in order for me to remember which song this was, I wrote "Great First Riff." So that's why I was laughing, because that's what I was going to say too. I really liked, there was something about the guitar tone on that riff that was really hard hitting. but not hard hitting in the way that you normally think of with all that low end in it. There was something really biting about it that I thought was really cool. Overall, I thought it was, just on par with a lot of the other kind of like middle of the road songs on the record. But I did really like that, and I really like the piano outro too. I had that down too.
We all said the same thing about the start of the song, so we hit the trifecta, boys.
Yeah,
even JPP said it there in the comments.
Yep, guitar is fun, and he loved this song. That brings us to the last song, which is called Fence, and I love this song. I love the pace. It was different than the rest. The drums were fantastic, and there was a different approach to the vocals, which I really dug, and the verses in this, the singing of the verses was just fire, and the instrumental breakdown was a little bit longer than most, and really cool. I thought this was a great album closer.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, sure. I put finally, and I didn't mean that because I was finally done listening to the record. This was my favorite song by far on the record.
Okay.
That's why I almost think, man, if you put that as an opener, I don't know, maybe I'd be disappointed if it was the opener that was there. but great song. In particular, the drums and the vocals. This did also have the rhythm in it in the little bridge thing, little breakdown part. But I liked the way they used it there. I thought it was really cool. I just said killer. I thought that was just a wonderful song.
Yeah, I was going to mention this is the fourth one that they have a video for. This is kind of just a straight up fun rocker. It doesn't have a lot of the, structurally it's a little different than the rest of the album. So it's a little more straightforward. Not so many part changes. And yeah, Steve, you mentioned the breakdown. I like that a lot too. The breakdown and the solo together, those sounded really killer. I liked Morgan's drums on the chorus. I thought that was kind of a cool touch, which maybe that's the rhythm that you're talking about. I don't know. But overall, this is a great closer. Could have worked as an opener, but I think, I don't know. I kind of agree with you, Kevin. I think if you heard this first, like you might, again, like the other song, you might think there's more of that coming, and there's really not. So it is a good way to kind of close it out. I feel like it leaves you wanting more because it's not, I want to say this is kind of a shorter song as well.
A little over 4, wasn't it? No. A little over 3 minutes, I think.
So this is kind of a shorter song as well. So it's kind of in and out, and you're like, leaves you wanting a little more maybe. But
3:38.
Yeah.
But I think it works well as the closer because the album builds. You got the soft opener, so it works. But what do I know?
Yeah, no, sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so it's ratings time, boys. We'll let Mundy go last because he's the one that brought this to us. He's much more familiar with the band than the two of us are. I'll go first because I'm not as smart as Kevin and not as lovable as Mundy. So I will give this record a 3 out of 5. I enjoyed it a lot. There was not one song that I hated or was just like, oh, God, But again, like we talked about earlier, it just felt safe. It didn't feel like there were any chances taken, and it all just kind of meshes together a little bit too much. I wish there was a little bit more variety. But there were highlights. I loved the first song, which is, what was the name of that one? That's The Devil Win. Might Let the Devil Win. Yeah. I love Fence. I love Truth Killer. So that's it. 3 out of 5. And I might listen to it. There are a couple songs I definitely will listen to again.
I'll go with 3 for similar reasons. For me, if I were putting something together, I wouldn't listen to this entire record again. I listened to the whole record twice. And the second time I kind of had to force myself. Having said that, I know I sound like I'm a hater, but I'm not hating. If I had to put together a playlist or just a record, I would put together an EP out of this that I would really, really enjoy. So first song, last song, Messenger, I think Fence was one of them. I'm not
That's
sure.
the last one.
That's the last one. Okay, so yeah, I had a couple others that I really liked, or that there were elements of them that I liked enough that I sort of wouldn't mind hearing again. But if I'm going to go back and listen to anything on purpose, it would probably be the first and the last song. So, but there's nothing that I hated on the record. So.
Okay, so before Monday goes, JPP says 3 out of 5. Safe, non-adventurous, all makes sense. Like I mentioned with Aphex Twin last week, it didn't feel as ambitious as previous efforts. There are strong riffs, though. So I think we all kind of are in agreement with that. All right, Monday.
I definitely agree with all of that. So for me, 3 is like if you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 is kind of my middle of the road. That's usually how I take that. I would give this maybe a 3.5 just because it's Sevendust, and I do love Sevendust. I'm a fan. Everything we said is pretty much how I feel. Like for Sevendust, I feel like this is kind of middle of the road. I don't feel like they're trying anything terribly new. I don't think it sounds very different from their last album. They do fall into formula, quite a bit, but it's Sevendust, and I love Sevendust. So that's not all bad. That's, so 3.5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, it's certainly no Beatles record. So.
Well, you're talking to two not huge Beatles fans. So.
I know. That's why I said it.
He's trying to stir it up.
Uh-huh.
Man. And just when I was going to give him an open invitation to come on anytime he wants.
Yeah. I guarantee Haj would be more amenable.
No, that's great, though. I like that you come on and you pick out things that we wouldn't necessarily hear with your trained ear. So that's what we like, digging in and
different perspectives. That's one of the things that I really enjoy when JPP is on, is bouncing stuff off of him, because he is a musician, and there's things that I catch that I can't really describe that maybe he can, so like, hey, what are they doing here? Like, what do you call this? And that's, I dig that. So I appreciate your efforts today.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate being on. It's awesome. Thank you.
Well, we are about ready to wrap this up. But, Kevin, I want to give you a second here. Just mention anything that you want to highlight coming up. We talked a little bit earlier, but anything else you want to highlight going on with Jack the Radio?
Nothing big for national consumption. We just a lot of shows coming up. We're spending, we're trying to play as much as possible. We have there's a big festival here coming up in September called Hopscotch Music Festival. I don't know if you heard it, but we host a day party for that. So we have several great bands on our bill. And so we're just all kind of revving up for that, and then trying to shoot some videos. So hopefully we'll have some videos out within the next, month or so. Some additional videos in addition to the last one that we put out. So.
I'd love to get you back here to K-Town for Haynes Apperson. That would be amazing. So he's open to it. We got to reach out to him.
Dude, so. I'm also open to it. That would be killer. So let's work on it, man.
All right.
Yeah.
We got our marching orders. Kevin says so. All right. So Kevin, on social media or any place you are, where would they find you?
Oh, let's see. You can find me on Facebook. I'm Kevin Rader Rodenbaugh, as spelled out at the bottom of the screen there.
On the crawl there.
I believe I'm Kevin Rader R on Instagram. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong about that. Yeah, Kevin Rader R on Instagram. And those are the only places I really hang out online. So. Gotcha. JackTheRadio.com if you want to check out the band.
Yes. And buy some cool comic stuff to go with your music.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Metalhead Mundy, where can we find you?
Well, the easiest place is on Instagram. It's just my handle on the show, at Metalhead Mundy. See the spelling there is Mundy.
Why? Because he's lovable, right?
Sure. Just ask my wife.
And I am Foggy's pal. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter that formerly tweeted things, but now post things, and that's lame. But that's the way it goes. And you can find Wanderings and Wool Gathering on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, no longer Stitcher. Is that correct?
I don't know if it's gone yet, but it is going away.
Going away. So Stitcher, I don't even know if anybody uses that anyway. Castbox and SoundCloud. And you can still now again find album reviews, movie reviews, TV, comics reviews at wanderingsandwoolgathering.com. We got that going again. As a matter of fact, when I get off this show, I'm going to go watch Big Brother, and we do a weekly wrap up and who's in charge and taking care of business, and then our predictions for later every week. So you want to check that out if you're a Big Brother fan. I know it's odd, but
better you than me, buddy.
I do this with a gentleman that I met on the Brian Bendis message board in the early 2000s, and
awesome.
We connected through writing, and so we get together and we go back and forth on the article every week. So it's a lot of fun.
Cool.
Very nice.
All right, Kevin, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And seriously, open invitation. If you're ever getting the itch and you just want to pop on, just say, hey, what you got this week? I'd like to come on, and we'll have you on the show.
Awesome. Would love to do it. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. And hold on. I got to stall because I don't have the outro ready yet. Hold on. Kevin, sing something. Go. Bye now.